Okay. Today is a strange presentation for me because I've given hundreds of presentations now. Um, and, and I don't think I've ever really backtracked to do a true intro type thing. For example, in Wichita last December, me and my two sons did a Feed the Cats seminar where we provided 11 one-hour presentations. Matter of fact, most of them went over an hour because we had a half hour in between each one. Two of them were football specific. In a webinar 3 days ago, I sat for 3 hours and 16 minutes going through 224 slides. So we have a lot of content now, but this has been kind of fun for me to like go back and to basically give a presentation like I was talking to people who had never heard of Feed the Cats. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. I call myself a coach's son. Actually, it's for 61 years. It's an old slide. My dad coached for 47 years. I've coached for 39 myself, 38 years teaching chemistry. I'm a writer. If you don't know about the Track Football Consortium, you need to check it out. I got a best-selling DVD out there. I talked overseas recently, and I have two of my four kids are coaches, and they're really good coaches. And it's probably one of my favorite things is the fact that we have so much in common. And I'm an owner of a crazy business that I don't even know what it does, but it's called Feed the Cats. Okay, I'm going to start off with the problem. This is the problem. BJ Stevens is a sprinter at Purdue that last year put this tweet out, and it got 934 retweets within 24 hours, 3,812 likes, which means that BJ said something in an interesting way that the whole track and field world understands and can relate to. And basically, people hate track. And, they kind of like the meets. Obviously on meet day, I don't understand this, but after hating it all week, he says, I love track so much and just thank the Lord for showing me this sport. Can't wait to compete today. So he got excited the day of the meet, and then it went back to hating it on Sunday. So that is the problem. And Feed the Cats will attempt to fix that problem. Now that problem has always been here. This is my coach from high school who said, I'm going to call you the Dragons because I'm going to run you until your ass is dragging. And that was his theme every damn day. We did the Clyde Hart shit, 10 200s, 8 300s, 8 400s. If you don't make time, you have extra runs. It was brutality. I still love my coach, but athletes always love their coach, even if they're abusive. I call it the Stockholm syndrome. One of the problems with coaches like the one I had, and I think most coaches these days as well, is that there's a saying that God makes sprinters and coaches make milers, that speed is somehow genetic and can't be coached. So you just you recruit speed and then you just say, okay, go run. But that really hurts track and field, and so many head track coaches come from a distance background that it just perpetuates this problem, and it's made track the awful sport that it is today. Now, as bad as it was, and I hated track in middle school, high school, and in college. That's like, what in the hell was I thinking? 10 years of track as an athlete, and I hated it every damn day. I went ahead and coached just like my old coaches coached me. And so, for my first 17 years of coaching, I was an old school, run them till their ass is dragging. We're going to outwork our competition. Nobody's going to work harder than us. We're going to get tough, and then we're going to compete like crazy, and if you don't like track, well, nobody likes track. Go run, shut up. I'm a science guy. I was a chemistry teacher, and this is obviously physics, but inertia says that an object will keep moving at the same speed in the same direction unless acted upon by an outside force. And I think that's the way I was. I just went in the same direction for my first 17 years of coaching. and didn't question myself enough. And so in 1998 and 99, I was hit by 3 different external forces. Here's the first one. These guys were terrific athletes, and we were the best team in the state of Illinois. Small school. We had 2 classes back then, but we were middle distance guys. We're the old Clyde Hart, good in the 400, good in the 800, good in the relays type of team. And it was 95 degrees at the state meet, and we kind of melted, and we got beat by a team of sprinters and jumpers. And I saw how much easier it was for a team of sprinters and jumpers to win a state championship, that on the bus ride home, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing focusing on the 400 and 800? And so, I started thinking about how I was going to change it. And then I went to a clinic, and a guy from a nobody school, Wheaton College in Massachusetts, a guy named Paul Souza, spoke. And he was a young guy, and he owned the room. And he said he coached 4 48-second quarter milers, and none of them ran more than 200 meters in practice. And that was huge to me. I was like, why couldn't I have run in that type of program? By the way, Paul Souza was a terrific athlete, and high jump 7.4 at Penn State, still holds the Penn State record. And of course, he's a cool guy. He gave up coaching to be the lead singer in a rock band. So very cool guy. And he changed my life. The third thing that acted upon me is my son, Alec, was a 6'2" 8th grader who could dunk a basketball. And one day he told me that he was going to play baseball. And, I was a good track coach. You can do everything wrong and still be a good track coach. I'd won a state title, a couple third place trophies, team trophies in the past 10 years. And so when my own son just told me that track sucked and he was going to play baseball, it really inspired me to try to make track different. Kind of like Frank Zappa said, without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. So by deviating from the norm, I changed things. The first thing I had to do, like I've kind of alluded to, is just admit that track sucks and that the entire experience was awful for me as an athlete and a coach, and that we should make it better. We should make it better for kids. One of the things was just a very selfish thing. I wanted the best athletes in my school to want to run track. Guys like my son, Alec, the wide receivers, the defensive backs, the running backs, the basketball kids, especially the ones that could dunk. I wanted those kids on my track team. And so I wanted to create an attractive program. And I started calling them cats. And I started thinking about cats and how, you don't put a leash on a cat and go for a jog. The cat will actually lay down on its back, and you'll have to drag it for 2 miles, because cats don't like to run, but cats are competitive as hell. I mean, they will get after it, and cats love to win. So how do you create a program? Well, I've kind of let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, already. You just stop running. You don't run anymore. When we made this change, this epiphany between 1998 and 1999, we were state champs as a team the next year. But more important, the true measure of a sprint program is the 4x1. And, we won the 4x1 in the state meet for the next 3 years. Matter of fact, we're really good for the next 6 years. I went to Franklin, Tennessee in 2005, and we were all-state both 2005, 2006. And, we set the state record in Illinois in 2018, the 4x1. And I coached the fastest kid in the history of the state of Illinois, Marcellus Moore, 10:31 in the 100. So it's really been 21 years of mission accomplished. The crazy thing is that what I learned was the Feed the Cats program did not only attract cats, it did attract cats. There's no question that fast kids, talented kids wanted to be on my track team. But the great thing is those nobody freshmen, they got faster. And then they came out as sophomores and they got faster again. And then they came out as juniors and they got faster again. And so it wasn't just the attract the cats that was important. It was also the fact that I'd stumbled onto something that really worked well. So how do you feed the cats? Well, this is the cornerstone. This is the most important thing, is that you have to start seeing your program through a kid's eyes. And it needs to be your goal. It's not like you're going to goof around to practice. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. I mean, we're the most serious track team in the state, in the country maybe. But the difference is, when my kids look forward to track practice, track practice is the best part of my track team's day. And that's saying a hell of a lot, because when I was in high school and in college, track practice was the worst part of my day. I was a quarter miler, trained like a Clyde Hart guy, every day of my track and field career. It was just hell. And I don't think I was ever healthy. And health, these two things, this is the most important thing. Now, we can go through the several other things as well. I got this from Bill Bowerman from Oregon, that moderate exercise never leads to high performance. You can't go out and practice in third gear every day and then run in fifth gear. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that, most coaches have practices that are kind of a consistent day-to-day grind. And we don't grind ever. We try to go high practices and low practices. And the reason why we go low practices is so we can have high level practice creates high performance. The sprinting should replace running. We don't do anything sub-max. Never let today ruin tomorrow. Never burn the steak. That's pretty important in what we do. Now, we do have some hard workouts called lactate workouts, but we always take the day off the next day. I think a meet itself ruins the next day, but we take the next day off, so that doesn't really count. Tired is the enemy, not the goal. Looking back, my high school coach, tired was the enemy. Matter of fact, tired was the goal in football, basketball, and track, all through high school. We were pushed to our limits and beyond. And maybe I'm a tougher guy now because of that. Maybe that's why I can sit and do a presentation for 3 hours and 16 minutes without getting up. But that's not high performance. That's workhorse. Huge. Racehorses, not workhorses. My coaches turned me into a workhorse. They turned me into the workhorse I am today. But they did not turn me into a racehorse. Now they can say, oh, well, gee, I got you down to 50.2 in the 400. Yeah, but I should have been a 48 guy, coach. Yeah, I was a workhorse. You didn't turn me into a racehorse. You'd rather be 100% healthy and 80% in shape rather than the other way around. Once again, that's that happy and healthy thing. Happy and healthy kids just accomplish great things. This is counterintuitive, but I 100% guarantee it is true. You may not find it in a textbook, but I know with 21 years of work, my sprinters are great in the 400 without ever focusing on any aerobic work at all. Now, we are aerobic creatures. We breathe 24 hours a day. We have all of our life. So there is an aerobic component in every second of our day. But it is amazing how fit you can become by doing intense work, resting, doing some intense work, resting, repeating, etc. Aerobic focus interferes with maintaining and increasing speed. So everything we do is headed in the same direction. We eliminate the word conditioning and in shape from our vocabulary altogether. When I consult with football coaches, feed the cats football coaches, and that's a real thing now. It's kind of a revolution in football. And feed the cats football coaches do zero conditioning. They do zero after practice running so that they can put four fingers in the air and, you know, like act like because we did 1,000 gassers that we're going to be good in the fourth quarter. Not true. We're going to practice fast and intense. We are not going to practice long and hard. We're going to find the 20% that really works and eliminate everything else. That's why we practice. My sprinters only practice 45 minutes a day. That's it. We're going to do less, but achieve more. And this is probably the most important of all. This is, I said happy and healthy is the most important. This is the foundation. The reason why it's a foundation is you cannot train sprinters when they are tired. If a kid is fatigued, I send them home and tell them to take a nap. You'll get more good out of a nap than you will a sprint workout when you're tired. So rest, recovery, and sleep are the building blocks of a sprint workout, and sprint workouts are the building blocks of getting faster. Now, I point this out. I just did a presentation for Lateef Thomas, Complete Track and Field, where I compared and contrasted Clyde Hart's program with the opposite. The opposite of Clyde Hart's program is my program. And Clyde Hart had 8 different types of workouts, and 4 of them had the word endurance in it. Let's just say that none of my workouts have, I seldom even say the word endurance unless I'm talking about Clyde Hart. So feed the cats. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And what is the main thing? It is speed. All of our energy goes towards max speed. And you say, well, don't you have to have endurance to run the 400? No, you got to be really, really fast and competitive. And you have to train to get biochemically tough. I'm not going into that today, but that can be done. And it's not easy, but it can be done. But we don't ever train endurance. And speed actually creates endurance, though, because my super fast guy that I recently coached, Marcellus Moore, he could run 25 miles an hour. I think he could run 20 miles an hour forever. So if you can run 20 miles per hour forever because you can run 25 because your top end, your speed reserve is so high, you have actually created endurance. If you are super in shape, but because you've neglected speed all of your life, you can only run 19 miles an hour as a top speed, you're never going to beat Marcellus Moore. You're too damn slow. So you have endurance, but no speed. And endurance never creates speed, ever. Matter of fact, endurance hurts speed. So anytime you go on a 6-mile jog, my college coach, this is freaking stupid. My college coach would send the sprinters, including me, on a 6-mile run on Mondays. Not only did that not improve my speed, but it hurt my speed. So you've lost 2 things. Vince Anderson calls that a 14-point turnaround. You're on the 1-yard line and you threw an interception. The other team ran it back for a touchdown. You missed a touchdown and they got a touchdown. That's a 14-point turnaround. So every time you work on endurance, you're messing with sprinters in a bad way. So as I said, max speed will be the priority. Hormesis is an important part of my program, and this is a hormesis curve. This is really a pharmacological curve where it's kind of like there's a certain dose of a medicine. And if you know anything about medicine, a medicine is a poison. It's a poison that has a beneficial effect in a certain small dose where it stimulates something positive. And that's the way training is as well. That training in small doses have a very beneficial effect, but in large doses has an adverse effect. I was trained in large doses. The average track coach trains in large doses. So you go over that hump. My father was a basketball coach for 47 years, and he used to call that hump the point of diminishing returns. And when he would hear about some basketball coach doing a 4-hour practice, he'd say, that's stupid, because after 2 hours, that's the point of diminishing returns. And the third and fourth hour of practice will actually not only will you not get anything done in those next 2 hours, you will actually take away from what you achieved in the percent healthy rather than the other way around. Harry Mara. Harry was the coach of Ashton Eaton, the world record holder in the decathlon. This is important stuff. Tired is the enemy, not the goal. Well, hey, that's Ashton Eaton in the picture here. Well, I thought this was after the 10th event of the decathlon. The 10th event is an endurance race, 1,500 meters. These guys all look like they're dead. They all look like they're terribly undertrained for this event. And the fact is they are. And the reason is beautiful. The reason is, if they would train for endurance that would make this race a little easier, it would hurt their other 9 events. They wouldn't be as fast. They wouldn't vault as well. They wouldn't long jump as well. They wouldn't throw as well because they would be leaner and look like a cross-country guy or something. So these guys train for power and speed and then gut it out in the 1,500. That's what my cats do as well. Never let today ruin tomorrow. Sometimes I substitute one more word in there. Never let today's workout ruin tomorrow's workout. That allows us, we only train lactate during the season, but that allows us to do, let's say, a Monday lactate workout. And yes, it will ruin tomorrow's workout. So we don't have a workout the next day. My sprinters go home after school. Charlie Francis and I agree on everything that I know of except for tempo running. We don't do tempo running because tempo running is slow running, and we just don't do that. We do X factor work instead. But I love when Charlie says athletes should never be sore from training. Now, they may be unintentionally sore, and that's okay. But the goal should never be to create soreness in athletes. Of course, this flies in the face of all mainstream thought that, no pain, no gain is, the poster everywhere. There's t-shirts, no pain, no gain. It's worshiped. And, but everything about Feed the Cats is countercultural. It's different. I'm some Corfus one time said only dead fish swim with the stream. And I don't want to be a dead fish, so I stay out of the lines as much as possible. Any fool can get another fool tired. There's a lot of fools out there as coaches. And matter of fact, the hardest practices are usually run by fools. I was a head basketball coach all through the 80s, and my freshman basketball coach was a fool. And one time he said, I asked him how, what's up with the game last night? I see you lost and everything. And he goes, yeah, we missed 18 layups. And I said, geez, 18 layups. Holy cow. And he goes, yep, I'm so pissed. He said, we're not touching a damn ball today. I'm going to run their ass off. We are just going to run and run and run. He's from Kentucky. And I said, well, gee, maybe you should practice layups. True story. Essentialism. If you haven't read this book, you need to read it. It's transformational. I love the words, the disciplined pursuit of less. I love those words. That is like Feed the Cats. I've been asked to, have t-shirts made of my favorite quotes and stuff. And this would be one of my t-shirts. And it's hard because we all come from the church of hard work. All of us. It's the Protestant work ethic that America was founded on. We all, it's crazy. The grind is a part of our DNA. And you almost have to become, accept the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable with how little you're doing as a coach if you're feeding the cats. So how do you train a cat? Sprint as fast as possible, as often as possible, staying as fresh as possible. Let's go slow and break it down. Sprint as fast as possible. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean run. We don't run. Okay, if you are not wearing spikes, if you are not being timed, if those times are not recorded, if those times are not ranked, and if those times are not published, then you're not sprinting. If you go out and tell a guy on the track that's not in spikes to sprint, if there was like a secret timer timing him, and then you do the 5 things I just said, he would sprint 10 to 20% faster. Because you are, if you're not doing those 5 things, you're not sprinting. And if you're not sprinting maximally, you are not learning to feel a different speed. You must teach your central nervous system to sprint. It is totally central nervous system controlled. Speed is totally electrical. It's not muscular at all. I'm sorry, weight room people, but speed is an electrical thing. So yeah, you got to sprint really, really fast and try to sprint a little faster every day. And now, as often as possible, that means for, like a high school track team, that's like 3 times a week. For an elite runner, I would say probably 2, based on the person, whether if they're fragile, it may only be 1. But 2 or 3, force pushing it. Now, if you're training a 9-year-old that has basically no central nervous system high output potential, you can sprint every day with a 9-year-old, because they're just not going to overheat ever. And then the last thing, staying as fresh as possible. As I said earlier, tired is the enemy, not the goal. And the reason why it's the enemy is that you cannot train speed. You cannot run super fast when you're tired. So that's why that rest, recovery, and sleep is the entire foundation of everything we do. There's only 3 surefire ways to increase your speed. And that is sprint mechanics, which we work on every day during our wake-up drills. We do not do a warm-up. Warm-ups are, when I think of a warm-up, I think of something slow that gets you half tired. And so we don't warm up, and we've 21 years, 0 injuries, 0 in our speed drills, plyos that we start practice with, 0 injuries. So sprint mechanics, I teach that every day in a very caffeinated way. And then max speed sprinting, 3 days a week, like I said, we're going to spike up, time people. And of course, jumping is jumping improves sprinting, and sprinting improves jumping. So we jump a lot. Now, obviously, the thing that's missing here is the weight room. The weight room is the most overrated thing for a sprinter that I know of. So the grind is the opposite of feed the cats. And that's hard for us because as coaches, we were all grinders. When we were the type of guy, we were the coach's favorite. That's why we became a coach. We were the guys that won the sprints at the end of practice. We were the guy that got, singled out as being, if everybody was like Holler, we'd be a hell of a lot better team. He busts his ass you come early, you stay late, you never miss a workout, blah, blah, blah. So here we are as grinders. So we have a hard time coaching cats, coaching talented kids. It's just tough. And when I talk about grinding, I probably need to explain my definition. Grinding means you work even though you don't want to. You're going to work really hard even though it hurts you physically. You're going to do the work without loving the work because it's going to pay off later. And those are antithetical to feed the cats. In the feed the cats system, whether it's feed the cats football, basketball, soccer, or of course track, your practice is your favorite thing to do. It's like if coach gives you a day off, you're like, shit, I wish I was practicing, and that I believe is the secret of high performance. Do less, achieve more is really confuses a lot of grinders. But I love the story of the Los Angeles Dodgers breaking every hitting record, franchise history. And when they explained the reason why they thought they had so much success is that they limited time in the batting cage. That baseball players are grinders like everybody else. They want to get in there and work because that's what's inside of them. If you tell somebody they get 50 swings instead of 300, what happens to those 50 swings? Pause. Those swings are really going to be good swings. The same thing happens when we do 3 200s in our hardest workout of the year last year. It's called the 4x4 predictor. When we do 3 200s spiked up with 3 to 4 minutes rest, instead of 10 200s, what's the difference? Well, my good guys are running 23s instead of 29s. What is more appropriate to run a great 400 meters? 23-second 200s with short rest, or 29-second 200s with bad mechanics and hating it? Well, there you go. This is another centerpiece. You have to time. Remember, you're not sprinting if you're not timing. I had a Brower system probably. Well, the start of Feed the Cats was all stopwatch. So it can be done with a stopwatch. The only problem is you can't do the most important thing with a stopwatch, and that is the 10-meter fly. The 10-meter fly is a measurement of max speed. So you have to have some type of timing system. And for like 5 years, I used a Brower system. But, they were on tripods. They didn't work well outside. It was wired because the wired system was more reliable. So I had like a 50-foot cord, and it weighed about 40 pounds. And it just was not good. And then 6 years ago, I switched to Freelap, and I can't imagine coaching without Freelap. I can't imagine. If you want to know what system to buy or something, feel free to email me. But yeah, I think you have to have this to be a speed coach. When I first went to Plainfield North, it was a new school. And in my first year there, we had freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. We had no culture at all, zero. Nobody was from Plainfield North because it was all cornfields 2 years prior. So we had 3 kids under 460 in the 40. We do winter workouts from December through up until track. And in our winter workouts, we only had 3, and then we had 8 my second year, and then we had 12, and then we had 20. In the last 5 years, or from 2014 to 2018, we've averaged about 30 kids sub 460. Now this is culture. These kids, we're talking kids actually tie their spikes into their book bag and carry them through school because they know they're not as fast without spikes. And so they carry their spikes, and it's very meaningful because we not only time them, but we write it down, and record, rank, and publish. I put it out on Twitter every damn day. By the way, in 2017, our football team played for the state championship and got beat by a nationally ranked East St. Louis team, 26-13. So if you are a football coach, you need to hire a Feed the Cats track coach. Don't hire one of those distance geeks, that are trying to recruit all your football players into cross country every year. You need a Feed the Cats guy, somebody that's a pure speed guy, somebody who's going to deliver 32 players to your football team that run sub 460 in the 40. As I said, the 10-meter fly is the key thing. It is the best indicator of performance for all track events, all of them. Because see, the 10-meter fly, whoever can run a max speed, if you can run 25 miles an hour, you're going to run 10:30 in the 100. I mean, there's nobody that can run 25 miles an hour for 10 meters who can't run 10 low in the 100-yard dash. And everybody that runs 10 low in the 100-yard dash can run sub 21 the 200. And everybody that can run sub 21 the 200 can run a 446 with strategic training. Yes, those lactate workouts I'm talking about. So, and you could even go, like, what would you rather have for a good 800 guy? Somebody with lots of endurance or lots of speed? I'll take speed all the time, because you can train endurance. Speed is hard to train. By the way, speed grows slow. Speed grows slow. One of my sayings, speed grows like a tree. So you got to plant it early and water it every damn day. It has to be a priority, because speed it's much easier to train. I mean, that's why the weight room is so successful, because people get strong quick. That's why if you want to be a happy coach, coach distance. I mean, just starting a jogging club that runs every day, kids will get tons better just by running every day. And sprinting, it takes a lot more work, but it can be done. We record everything. This is a Google sheet. So even though my practices are 45 minutes, I'll spend up to an hour entering times. This is a 10-meter fly automated time. What did Marcellus run? This year he ran 093 was his best. 092 was his best the year before. By the way, that's a little better than 24 miles an hour. I think he probably hit 25 miles an hour in races, especially in the 4x1. He ran several 9.2 splits in the 4x1. So he's probably hitting 25 miles an hour. The fastest ever in the history of the world was Bolt, who hit a speed of 27.6 miles per hour in Berlin when he ran 9.58. That 27.6 miles per hour, what that is 0.81 in the 10-meter fly. And by the way, when you do 10-meter flies, don't ask me what is the run-in. That's just a dumb question, because the run-in is whatever it takes to get to top speed. What are you trying to measure? You're trying to measure top speed. So if it takes somebody, usually it takes 25 meters for a good high school track kid. It takes me about 3 meters to get to top speed, because my top speed is not very good, because I'm 61 slow. But for a good high school kid, it takes about 25 meters. Bolt did not hit that 0.81 until I think the 6th or 7th 10-meter segment of his race. Now, he was hitting real close to that after about 30 or 40 meters. So, but yeah, he did not hit that 0.81. It takes a human being a long time to get up to 27.6. This is an interesting thing too, and this is my last slide here. Then we'll open it up for questions and answers. But I referenced miles per hour several times, and all you have to do is take 22.37 divided by the 10-meter fly time, for example. If you want to get Bolt's miles per hour, 22.37 divided by 0.81 would be 27.6 miles per hour. And so what I did this year for the first time is I ordered wristbands from rapidwristband.com. I got 300 of each, and it cost about $100. So a $400 investment. Obviously, I have lots of 23 mile an hours to spare. There's not many high school kids. If you have 4 kids running 23 miles an hour on your high school track team, you are a damn fast team. You're probably state champs in the 4x1. So we had 4 different clubs basically. About 60% of my sprinters were in the 20 mile an hour club. So they got white bands, blacks, silver, and gold is the 23. Marcellus graduated early this year to go to Purdue, even though he's only 17. He got 3rd in the Big Ten in the 60 and 4th in the Big Ten in the 200 at the age of 17. Ran 21:09 indoors. So because he graduated, I didn't need to buy any 24 mile an hour bands, but it was so cool, the pride that my kids had when they wore these. And of course, if you're 23, you wore all 4 bands, so it was a badge of honor. And the kids that wore these bands, I swear to God, they never took them off. They wore them every day. They may have showered in them, slept in them, everything, because there was so much pride. And so not only does record, rank, and publish really improve the focus and intent of athletes, but little things like this. And going back, I'll circle back around here. Going back, I mean, consider what I went through in high school compared to how fun this would be, where hey, you don't have to run in my program. What? I don't have to run anymore? No, we're just going to sprint and have fun, keep you healthy. And, we're going to have like 8 workouts that are going to suck because all my sprinters, all of them run the 400. Every sprinter that I have is also trained to run the 400 by doing 8 strategic lactate workouts that I apologize. Guys, this is really going to suck. Well, coach, what is it? We're going to run 23 seconds twice, or we're going to do 3 200s with 3 to 4 minutes rest. And we're going to spike up and go hard. And that's how we get ready for the 4x4. And we're real good in the 4x4. Matter of fact, this year, if we were not top 9, which is all state, I would have been really disappointed. And next year, I think I will have 2 48-second quarter milers. So I think we'll be, maybe even if I can find 2 more guys, we got a good shot. So anyway, I hope you see how much fun it would be for kids to do this. And the other thing too, this is crazy. People ask me, like, hey, Feed the Cat seems like a cult. It's like people are crazy about it and stuff. And what I tell them is that when you start doing this, instead of you having to inspire your kids all the time, the program inspires them to do the work. They want to build their own house. And most coaches have never coached in a situation where the kids actually inspire them. And coaching happy and healthy kids might be the most enjoyable, rewarding thing in the whole freaking world. And that's why people are so passionate about a Feed the Cats program, whether it's in football, basketball, soccer, rugby, and of course track. So thank you so much. And now I will exit and go to the Zoom.
Yep. 44 minutes.
How about that?
Good.
So Blake, where do I find the questions?
Q&A?
Yeah.
So if you kind of just scroll down at the bottom, you'll see the Zoom pop up, the Zoom toolbar.
Okay.
Do you see it or no?
No.
And it, you don't have to worry about it because I was just going to ask the questions for you. So
okay, good. Okay.
So, here's the first one. If you don't have any electronic timing, and depending on the weather, like we have here in England, do you use normal stopwatches or anything else?
Yes. And there's actually a way that, okay, obviously I used to time 10,000 40s a year because that was the only thing we did, because you're kind of stuck using a stopwatch when you're if all you have is a stopwatch, you're kind of stuck running 40s. And but there is a way that you can time a fly. What I suggest is find a way to be like in the bleachers or something, or up on a bench, and have 2 hurdle gates, let's say 20 yards apart. You can put them on the boys' hurdle marks, which are 10 yards apart. And when you see your sprinter run through the first gate, you click. And when the chest hits the second gate, you click. And that gives you a handheld 20-yard fly time. Now, I would time 3 of those and then average the best 2 to kind of take out the human error thing. And if you want the conversion to go miles per hour, you can text or something. I'm good at that because I used to teach chemistry. So you can do a conversion, get to miles per hour. You can have wristbands, all that stuff. So yeah, use a stopwatch.
Okay. And so the next one is, what do you do for your 400 workouts to maintain endurance? You said earlier you don't
Yep.
practice for endurance. Would you agree that the 400 is an endurance race, though?
No, 100% disagree. It is a sprint. It is a sprint that you must learn how to sprint farther, but you don't do that by running 400s in practice. If you have a a potential state champion who can run 46 in the 400, and you run him in 3 400s in a practice, his 3 400s are going to be in 57. That doesn't make you better. That's dumb. No. So what we do is that 46-second quarter miler would run 3:22.5 run in start, 22.5 with 4 minutes rest. Now that's making you a damn good 400 guy. So if you want to know more about that, I just delivered a 90-minute presentation comparing and contrasting Clyde Hart, who believed that the 400 was the combination of a sprint and a sprinter and a half miler. That's what he believed. And he believed that endurance was the key to getting a sprinter to sprint farther. And so I am very respectful, but I am the opposite of Clyde Hart. And that presentation I just gave 2 days ago was for Lateef Thomas Complete Track and Field, CTF. And that's going to be on sale soon. Right now it's in a package. Me and 4 college coaches, Carol Gilbert Smith, Gabe Sanders, Mark Mangicotti, and Kaba Tolbert. Each of us did 1 presentation a day this week. And so those presentations I think are going to be available. I'm sure they are going to be available for sale, and that'd be the best place. And then also you can read my shit, Google 23-second drill. That's one of my lactate workouts. And then you can also Google 4x4 predictor, 4x4 predictor. And that will teach you how I get my kids biochemically tough without doing endurance work. Next.
Yeah, so is there a way to modify a feed the cats type approach for a cross country or distance team?
Stay tuned. This is interesting. Stay tuned to my Twitter at PNTrack. I think it's on the screen right now. Because next week, me and John O'Malley, this guy's pretty amazing. He's coached 2 Foot Locker national champions. He's coached his 4x8 3 years ago ran 7:39. I mean, something incredible. We're talking, he is, I think, the best distance coach in the country, even though he's a high school coach. Matter of fact, I think high school coaches are the best track coaches in the country. Having said that, he and I are going to do a 3-hour webinar next Friday. And we are going to talk about this stuff. Obviously, you cannot throw away endurance. I mean, endurance is a part of cross country. But I think there's something about happy and healthy, allowing kids to build their own house, not pushing kids, trying to make the practice itself something that kids look forward to. That there's an art to that. And I think some coaches just say, screw it. This ain't going to be fun. We're just going to go out and grind. And John O'Malley is not a grinder. And so anyway, stay tuned.